G'day, I'm Paul. Kia has finally confirmed the name of its dual cab ute. It is going to be called the Kia Tasman, and today I'm going to run you through everything that we know plus our clearest look yet on what this thing is going to look like. So in today's video, I'm going to run you through how it competes up against the competition, what it is going to come with in terms of the engine, when we expect to see it in Australia, plus a couple of other fun bits and pieces. If you do want to skip ahead to other parts of this video, you can use the time codes that are on the screen. If you're on YouTube, you can scroll down and use the chapters below. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon, but let's get straight into it. Okay, so I have my trusty iPad here. What I'm going to do is run you through our renders, and then I'm going to run you through the spy photos and some of Kia's official spy photos as well, just so you can get a bit of a look at the outside of it. Then we'll jump inside and have a look at engines as well. So here are our renders. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wow. That's exactly what I thought as well. This is pretty much bang on exactly what the Tasman is going to look like, and we're talking about a pretty controversial design. And when you look at all the other dual cab utes in the segment at the moment, they're all pretty generic looking. Yeah, there are a couple of exciting options there and stuff like the Raptor and perhaps the GR Hilux as well, but there's nothing really that looks like this. So the headlights, you can see down the front there, they've got these sort of vertical arrangements with big cooling there in the center. And they've also got these side panels here that are exposed in different color to the body. Now, our artist here has kind of given them a bit of a stylized effect there, but we suspect they're probably going to be body colored or just black. But depending on what Kia does with some of the special edition models, they may even go down the path of this sort of textured plastic material as well. You can see recovery hooks down the bottom there too. Kia has already signaled that they want a Raptor style competitor. Now, whether that means big engine and all that kind of thing, or whether that just means off-road capability, we don't know, but they do love the idea of having something in the market if that is what the customers want. And not only are they wanting to compete with Raptor, they actually had a Raptor on a recent drive that they were doing as a comparative tool. So I guess that kind of solidifies that it is something that they're potentially working on. Now, this is what the rear looks like. So I'll run through just a couple of highlights here. So again, you can see those side panels there. They kind of look pretty nice and cool. Door handles. So these we've seen on Kia's official spy photos. They're grab handles. There's a proximity sensor button just there on the door as well. So that means this will be fairly modern in regards to all that technology. There's going to be a 360-degree camera system. So you'll see one mounted under there, and I'll show you the location of the camera on the rear as well and explain why that is definitely going to be an important thing. Up the top there, roof rails. And then the other interesting component here is this side section. When we do jump inside the cabin, I'll show you some of the spy photos that we've seen that go into a bit of detail on why that looks the way that it does. So I'll run you through that shortly. Now, around the back here, they've integrated a step there similar to the Ford Ranger and a couple of other dual cab utes in the segment. This is a really handy addition because it means that if you do need to grab stuff out of the tray, it is just easier to slide your foot into that and away you go. Ford has mounted theirs over here, which I think is a slightly better location because you've got the option of either using that to get something from the corner, or alternatively, you can step on the tire to get something from this end of the vehicle. And let me tell you, you do not want to be stepping on a wet tire, which is what I've done once, and then almost smashing your jaw there on the actual tray itself. So keep that in mind. At the rear of the vehicle, in terms of some of the specs they're aiming for, 3.5 ton braked towing capacity is what they're after. That is, I guess, just a given for this segment. You can't go any lower than 3.5 ton, otherwise you won't have anything to compete with. The other thing as well, beneath the skin here, they've got leaf spring suspension, so that'll sit there beneath the skin. Look, it is what it is for this segment. They are targeting a payload of at least 1,000 kilograms, and that's going to mean going for an option that can do load bearing like leaf springs. They will do a local ride and handling tune. In fact, in Australia right now, they actually have these prototype vehicles driving around doing local ride and handling. Hopefully they will do what Ford has done with Ranger and then Toyota has adopted with Rogue and GR Hilux, which is sticking a damper inboard of the chassis rails, so that gives them better body control. Also means they can round out the ride and just give the vehicle a bit more flexibility when it comes to handling as well. Final thing I'll touch on the back here, LED tail lights up the back there. We don't know the exact configuration of what this tailgate's going to look like, but I am hoping it does come with a torsion bar built into there, so it's easier to lower and raise as required. So that is our imagery of the vehicle. I'll run you through what some of the spy photos look like. So here they are here. You can see the vehicle itself is pretty big, and Kia released some of their own images of what the vehicle looks like, and it really does feel like a step up in size from something like a Hilux, which kind of feels a little small. It is on the narrower side. Ranger grew in width when they did the latest update. This, I suspect, will adopt that bigger stance that Ford has on the Ranger. You can see over here as well that you've got those headlights integrated into there. And you can also see down the bottom there as well that they have a fog light or some other component there. That could actually be the headlights, and this could be a running light. We don't know just yet. We'll find out pretty soon. Front parking sensors there as well, and then a radar in here too. So we'll see stuff like front and rear parking sensors, radar, cruise control, all the sort of basic stuff you'd expect out of a vehicle in this segment. And this is a closer look at that leaf spring arrangement as well. So you can see the leaf springs hiding in the back there. So they will sort of sit across the back of the vehicle like that. You can't really tell much else of what's going on there. The other good thing you can see in this picture as well is disc brakes for the rear. Mitsubishi didn't get that memo when they launched the Triton just a few months ago. They bizarrely launched it with drum brakes. So that is a signal of not really reading the market and understanding where this segment is going. Upmarket, and upmarket means going with disc brakes. This is a shot of the rear, and I thought I'd highlight this. You can actually see the reverse view camera mounted in here. So it is pretty central, and the reason that is important is because when you are reversing to hook up a trailer, yes, some people are reversing experts when it comes to trailers, but having a center mounted rear view camera is important to line up the trailer, get it all hitched up correctly, and not have any sort of deviation issues. It is good to see them sort of thinking about that. You can see those side steps off to the side there, and it appears that these are the reverse lights down here with a set of rear parking sensors as well. This vehicle is most likely going to have reverse AEB and rear cross traffic alert. They'll actually mount a radar beneath the skin here on these corners, which gives you rear cross traffic alert and the ability to do rear AEB as well. So all of that is really positive. Let's jump inside the cabin. I want to show you what that looks like. So this is our artist's impression. This is based off spy photos. I'll run you through some of the highlights here. So two big infotainment displays in the center there. These should be using Kia's latest infotainment system that we've seen in the EV9. If that is the case, also means that they're likely to mount climate controls just here in the center as well. Only downside to that is in EV9 and also EV5 that we checked out recently. You can see those videos using the links in the description below. It was hard to see these because they're blocked by the steering wheel. So you've got to peer your head around there to actually see exactly what's going on. So that is worth keeping in mind. Air vents through this center section here, and then you can see switches and controls. We have seen in some of the spy photos the ability to switch between 4 high, 4 automatic, and 2 high as well. So it looks like it's going to have a similar system to the Ranger where you can drive it in 4-wheel drive on sealed surfaces, which is excellent news in my opinion. Not a whole lot of switchgear here though, so for stuff like climate control, if they have mounted it up here, it's going to mean that everything is driven by a button or by voice control. Just something worth keeping in mind. Nice new modern steering wheel there as well with some buttons integrated onto that. You can see off to the side here as well, heated and cooled seats. Whether this will actually make it to the final version, we don't know. I do like these grab handles. So these are taken from spy photos as well, just something a little bit different. It is the type that you grab in there and pull. The reason Ford went down the path of grab handles down here and why Kia has gone for this type as well is to save space. So if you are mounting them in other parts of the vehicle and they protrude too much, they do take up a fair bit of room within that door panel. So mounting them there out of the way means you do have that flexibility of getting in and out without having something down lower here where it's going to get in the way of things. So I think that is good to see they're thinking about that. Bit of padding on the door there as well. And I'll show you some padding in the rear row. Also, wireless phone charging, all the bells and whistles you come to expect from a modern vehicle that's on sale today with auto dimming mirror up the top there as well. Let me show you some of the spy photos that gives a better indication of what this interior looks like. This panel up the top here, so it looks like they've gone for a stylized attempt there on the door, which is where you're seeing this. And if you recall the vision from the outside of the vehicle, they've got that cutaway. This is actually what the inside looks like. They've got a little padded section there as well, because I suspect that will sit up at the shoulder level. So it just means that you're able to lean on that if you do have some of your tradie mates in the back of your vehicle. Again, you can see that door handle in use there with window switches integrated into that part as well. Nice seats as well. So fabric up the top there. And then if you look at this bottom section, they've got like a sort of faux leather material, ribbed as well for your passengers' pleasure. That means it will be nice and comfortable to sit in. Center armrest there as well that appears to drop down. We don't know yet whether this seat comes up to give you storage beneath it. That is yet to be seen, but it is good to see they're thinking about stuff like pockets here in the back for odds and ends. And it has a similar arrangement to other Kia variants we've seen, with a holder on the back there for your jacket or coat or something like that. So they have thought about a few things. What we can't see here is where the air vents are. I suspect that actually they do appear to be down there, but they might be roof mounted. So we'll see how that goes when the time comes to further have a look at that. In terms of the other interior photos that we've got here, this gives you an idea of what the center section looks like. So you've got controls down here for your drive modes. This is also where they're controlling stability control. You can also see over here, stop start button, and you also have the ability to switch between those drive modes. So 2H, 4H, 4A, and 4L. And I suspect on this side of the gear lever is where you're going to find controls for the diff locks. It is interesting here in the center console. Have a look at this. They've got actual bottle holders in there as well. So perhaps this could be cooled. You never know, I'm just throwing it out there. That would be an interesting thing to have in this segment, because you do need something to help it stand out. I mentioned before the official spy photos from Kia. This is what we've used to base our renders off, and a couple of interesting things worth pointing out. You can see up here, that bonnet line goes like that. So it is going to be a very odd sort of looking bonnet arrangement, but you can see those headlights there and that textured arrangement on your wheel arch protectors, and then just the big opening there for the cooling system. Now, let's run through the exciting stuff, and this is what the front and then the front side looks like as well from Kia's official images on what appears to be an all-terrain tyre as well, which is good news. I want to run you through what we're talking about here in terms of engines. So they want to target a minimum 1,000 kilos payload, 3.5 tonne brake towing capacity. We do know that it is going to launch with only a 4-cylinder diesel, no petrol, no V6 petrol, no V6 diesel either, so just 4-cylinder. Given the only 4-cylinder they're using at the moment is the 4-cylinder in Sorrento that's mated to an all-wheel drive system, 2.2 litre, 4-cylinder turbocharged diesel, 148 kilowatts of power and 440 newton meters of torque. I can tell you, if they launch with that combination, they're going to be in a world of strife, especially if you want to tow 3.5 tonnes with it. That will be entirely inadequate. They're going to need to launch with at least 470, which is what Triton has launched with. But if they do want to be serious about taking on the competition, 500 newton meters is where you want to be. 500 newton meters is going to give you the flexibility for driving in and around the city. It will also give you the flexibility when towing as well, or even when you have a big payload. Smaller the engine is, the harder it's going to have to work to achieve what it needs to achieve. They do have some V6 engine options available as well. So there was a vehicle called the Mojave, which was sold in the States, and that thing is an absolute beast. It's a ladder frame chassis. It is what the early mules of this Tasman were based on. So it was basically ladder frame, Mojave, and then they've evolved it since then. So we do think that the platform itself is going to be different to Mojave, but Mojave was available with a 3-litre V6 diesel that made 189 kilowatts of power and 560 newton meters of torque. So that would have been a good option, but a more modern version of that engine is the Genesis V6 diesel, which is a 204 kilowatt, 588 newton meter option. So I think if they do end up going down the path of a V6, which they might, V6 sales aren't huge in Australia, but it's good prestige and premium product, and certainly one that I would be going towards if I am towing at that 3.5 tonne mark. There is an electric version, a fully electric version coming in 2025. We don't know whether that is going to be for Australia. If you have a look at where Australia is going with its emission laws at the moment and all of the hoo-ha around that, they do want to introduce more of these fuel-efficient vehicles to offset vehicles like this dual cab ute, which you can't really electrify at the moment. Kia is launching a stack of electric models, so they may actually just decide to not bother with an electric ute for Australia and just stick with this, and then offset all of their penalties from the government with just their electric vehicles. Part of the reason an electric ute would be probably pointless for Australia, you're not going to be able to tow with it, you can't carry big payloads with them. Well, you can do both of those things, you just can't go very far. So if they are going to be selling these to fleets and to people that are travelling longer distances, Those things are going to be important. Fleets is another thing I want to point out as well at this point. Kia is going to be targeting those figures plus a 5-star ANCAP safety rating. The 5-star ANCAP safety rating is a bit of a pile of BS because the only reason you need that is to cater for fleets. Fleets have decided for some reason they want a 5-star rating on these cars, and that is what Kia is going to target. That means it's going to come with the world's most annoying driver monitoring system. It's going to come with all the annoying beeps and bongs and lane keeping assistance that no one likes and everyone switches off when they drive. So unfortunately, that stuff is going to feature in this vehicle when it finally does launch. When is the Tasman coming to Australia? That is the name that is now being confirmed. It will be in Australia next year. I think later this year we'll probably see a few more vehicles getting about and a bit more launch activity. They have really drawn this out as much as they can, but next year is when this will really hit the ground running. The reason they are drawing this out is Kia doesn't offer a ute in Australia at the moment, so they have no sales to cannibalise. But in the future, they want to sell this ute, and anyone that is looking to upgrade to a Triton or perhaps a new Hilux, if it's launched by that point, will perhaps hold off for a Kia, which will come with a 7-year warranty. So it is all interesting stuff. As always, like we've done with Ranger, with Triton, with Isuzu D-Max and Mazda BT50 as well, we will keep you abreast of all of the information as it happens. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the bell icon because that is going to tell you when this information goes live. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like it and you share it with your mates. What do you think of the Tasman? Based on the stuff I've shown you, are you going to hold out to buy one? What do you think of the design? I know that it's not complete yet, but I am keen for your feedback. Let me know in the comments section below. But until next time, take it easy.